Hi everyone, this is Jim with JP Reacts, where you come to see a former candidate talk about what politicians are saying and what they mean by what they say, and even what they mean by what they don't say. Today in this video, we're going to be covering part 4 of the video about President-elect Biden's American Rescue Plan. In the previous sections, it covered from the first video talked about how we got here. Second video covered some parts of his plan. The third video covered a lot more, including the $15 minimum wage. I don't know what this next part is. I haven't seen it yet, so hopefully we can learn some more things about his plan moving forward. If you're interested in that, please stay tuned after this. Okay, so let's jump back into where we are again. We just finished wrapping up talking about the $15 minimum wage.
I look forward to working with members of Congress of both parties to move quickly to get the American Rescue Plan to the American people. And then we can move with equal urgency and bipartisanship to my Build Back Better recovery plan that I will call for next month to generate even more economic growth. American manufacturing was the arsenal of democracy in World War II. It will be so again. Imagine a future made in America, all made in America, and all by Americans. We'll use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America. We'll buy American products, supporting millions of American manufacturing jobs, enhancing our competitive strength in an increasingly competitive world. Imagine historic investments in research and development to sharpen America's innovative edge in markets where global leadership is up for grabs. Markets like the battery technology, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy. Imagine confronting the climate crisis with American jobs and ingenuity leading the world. It's time to stop talking about infrastructure and to finally start building an infrastructure so we can be more competitive. Millions of
So I'm glad he's going to now talk about how we're going to build out our country to be more effective and be a manufacturing hub. I know there's a lot of misconceptions around how there's so much fewer American manufacturing jobs than there used to be. The main perception is they were shipped overseas, which is a part of it. Some of the jobs were shipped overseas. To Asian countries, African countries, Mexico, Latin American countries. But the bigger chunk of those losses was lost to automation. Basically, those jobs don't exist anywhere anymore because they're done by robots, or they're done in a better way that don't require as much human intervention in the process. So a big chunk of those jobs were lost that way, and they're never coming back. So what we need to build manufacturing out is new technologies and new things to actually manufacture, not trying to rely on old things we were manufacturing that aren't going to produce new jobs in those areas. They will be on the margins, obviously, as if companies grow, they'll still need people. But the biggest way to build out manufacturing jobs is to be building new stuff. And that will create the jobs, and you need the infrastructure around to do that, especially around the clean energy, which he's talking about.
of good-paying jobs. We put Americans to work rebuilding our roads, our bridges, our ports, to make them more climate resilient, to make them faster, cheaper, cleaner, to transport American-made goods across our country and around the world. That's how we compete. And imagine millions of jobs in a caregiving economy to ease the financial burden of caring for young children and aged loved ones. Let's make sure our caregivers, mostly women of color, immigrants, have the same pay and dignity that they deserve. So we can do these bold, practical things now. I know what I just described does not come cheaply, but failure to do so will cost us dearly. The consensus among leading economists is we simply cannot afford not to do what I'm proposing. independent, respected institutions from around the world, from the Federal Reserve to the International Monetary Fund, have underscored the urgency. Even Wall Street firms have reinforced the logic. If we invest now boldly, smartly, and with unwavering focus on American workers and families, we will strengthen our economy, reduce inequity, and put our nation's long-term finances on the most sustainable course. And where we're
Yeah, I mentioned this in one of the previous videos on when he talked about infrastructure when I was defining it. There is a lot of ways to build an economy, and you need the infrastructure, which he's talking the roads, bridges, water, electricity, internet. All those things need to be in line. And when interest rates are low, it's the perfect time to actually start borrowing to build into those things. And as our infrastructure continues to suffer, we will continue to fall further and further and further behind other countries. And we won't be the place that people come to get to find the best types of work or the best types of, we won't be known for that anymore. So you need to really have an investment in it like he's talking about. And it's actually going to cost us less in the long run to do it now because interest rates are low. So I'm glad he's addressing that.
We're making permanent investments, recurring investments. As I said in the campaign trail, we will pay for that by making sure that everyone pays their fair share, not punishing anybody. We can do it without punishing a single person by closing tax loopholes for companies that ship jobs overseas, or to allow American companies, 90 of them, the top Fortune 500, to pay zero in federal income taxes. Asking everyone to pay their fair share at the top so we can make permanent investments to rescue and rebuild America. It's the right thing for our economy. It's the fair thing. It's the decent thing to do. We not only...
I'm glad he's bringing this up. There are a lot of companies that pay zero income tax in the United States, and a lot of American companies that pay zero income tax in the United States, and that's unacceptable. They get the benefit of having the society. They get the benefit of using all the infrastructure, and actually a lot of them are causing harm because they are dumping industrial waste in places, or they're causing environmental damage. So they're actually not just costing us the tax money, but also costing cleanup to make sure it's maintained. And then that really drives states to have these competitions where they're not getting the benefit of even state income taxes on these. In the past, the revenue to the government, a big chunk of it came from businesses and large businesses. So it wasn't such a burden on the regular people. It had to be the adjustments. So there are a lot of loopholes that can come into it. And also, when we're talking about income taxes, we've got to make sure when we're talking about wealthier people, I don't know if he's going to bring this up, their income doesn't come from work in the normal sense, where they're being taxed on a W-2 or something like that. It's more from investment income, which is taxed at a much lower rate. So hopefully we're getting to the point where we tax that investment income once you're at a certain level at the same rate as ordinary income, which is the ones that me and you get for our W-2s. That hopefully that's part of it, but also just closing the loopholes that are helping companies pay zero taxes and giving them tax breaks for shipping jobs overseas. Let's see what's next.
We only have an economic imperative to act now. I believe we have a moral obligation. In this pandemic, in America, we cannot let people go hungry. We cannot let people get evicted. We cannot watch nurses, educators, and others lose their jobs. We so badly need them. We must act now and act decisively. My fellow Americans, the decisions we make in the next few weeks and months are going to determine whether we thrive in a way that benefits all Americans, or that we stay stuck in a place where those at the top do great, while economic growth for most everyone else is just a spectator sport, and where American prospects dim, not brighten. These investments will determine whether we reassert American leadership and outcompete our competitors in a global economy, We're better equipped to do this than any nation in the world. Or that we watch them catch up and pass us by. Together, I know which path we'll choose. That includes all Americans, so we can own the 21st century. But even with all these bold steps, it's going to take time to get where we need to be. There will be stumbles, but I will always be honest with you about both the progress we're making and what setbacks we meet. And there will, and here's the deal, the more people we vaccinate, the faster we do it, the sooner we can save lives and put this pandemic behind us and get back to our lives and our loved ones. And the sooner we can rescue and rebuild the American economy, the biggest and most profitable engine in the world. I know it's been nearly a year that tested us beyond measure. For all of you who have lost someone, my heart goes out to you. I know that feeling looking at that empty chair across the table. All of you who've fallen on hard times. I know you can never get back what you lost, but as your president, I know that every day matters and every person matters. From the very first to the nearly 400,000 lost American souls and counting, to the millions of you just looking for a fighting chance in this economy, I promise you, we will not forget you. We understand what you're going through. We will never, ever give up. And we will come back. We'll come back together. We didn't get into all this overnight. We won't get out of it overnight. And we can't do it as a separated and divided nation. The only way we can do it is to come together as fellow Americans, as neighbors, as the United States of America. And when we do, there's nothing beyond our capacity. I've said this many times. When America acts as one, there's never been a single thing we've been unable to do, no matter how consequential the issue has been. Out of all the peril of this moment, I want you to know, I give him a word, I see the promise as well. We've seen clearly what we face now. And I remain so optimistic about America. As optimistic as I've ever been. We have everything we need, but the will must be demonstrated. So come Wednesday, we begin a new chapter. The Vice President-elect and I will do our best to meet all the expectations you have for the country and the expectations we have for it. I'm confident. I'm truly confident. Together, we can get this done and come out better off than when we went into this crisis. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Okay, so that's the end of part 4. He covered a lot of ground in this area on this video. At the end, talking about all that we've been through and making sure we have a good plan in place to move our country forward. He is very honest and straightforward that it's not going to be easy and it's not going to come at a normal rate. It could definitely be some stumbles along the way, and he will hopefully acknowledge that when they happen. It's important that when you're delivering news and whatnot around these issues, that you're honest with the people and making sure that they know what's going on. No news is not necessarily good news. You want to make sure that you are telling everybody what's happening and making sure that there's no false narratives being put out there or even some lies or misconceptions about what's going on. So I'm glad he brought that up. It's good that he's bringing it up now before it even happens. If you're watching this video, it's Thursday probably. We're already into the first full day of President Biden. So hopefully it's going well. First day out of the chute. But only time will tell. It's going to take time not only to get the vaccine rolling, but also to get the economy back on track and moving forward past just getting it back to where we were, because where we were wasn't great either for everybody. So we want to move it past that way. So I'm glad it sounds like he has a plan. He's going to lay out some more over the next week or so. So I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to being able to talk about substantial things and not just some dumb thing that President Trump might have said online. So if you got some value out of this video, please like it below and in the comment. Out of all four of these, which one do you think of what President-elect Biden said is going to have the biggest impact? And why do you think that? How is that going to make the biggest impact on the country and the economy moving forward? I will, at the end of this, in the end screen, make sure you have the playlist for these 4 videos. I'm glad you stuck through, and I'll put the very first video as the other link, so you guys can, if you missed some of these, you can start from the beginning. Obviously, all the links for the original video and all of the other parts of this series will be below. But hopefully you can you get a good idea of what's going on. Until I see, hopefully you have a good night. It's getting pretty late now, but have a great night. And until I see you around the internet, have a great day. Bye.